Hey guys, what's up? There are a lot, and I mean a lot of JRPGs with truly high and atrocious encounter rate, aren't there? I could easily make a top 50, no problem. But I chose 10, only 10, the 10 that I think have the highest encounter rate of them all. And if you think this was bad, oh boy. You ain't seen nothing yet, man. Yeah, let's begin. Number 10, Suikoden 4. From this generation, I know a lot of you will say Skies of Arcadia. This one beats it, I swear. Not really when it comes to areas or dungeons, it's still kinda high though, but it's still manageable. Or perhaps I should say tolerable. What's intolerable, and one of the reasons most people hate this game, is the encounter rate at sea. If anything, the navigation is uninspiring because everywhere you go looks the same. It's very easy to get lost, and to make matters 10 times worse, the controls for the ship are beyond any chore. Trying to move around and match the little map out there is quite a challenge itself. The battles aren't long at all, especially not if you just auto-attack, so it probably won't take you more than 30 seconds each. Still, it's a gruesome facepalm experience that turned a lot of people off. I've beaten this game 2 times, even if it's hard to believe, because I still think despite this, Suikoden 4 is still a pretty good game. Number 9, Phantasy Star 2. It's not as high as others you'll see here, but still, it's exhausting and viciously removes your enthusiasm for the adventure. Not to say the dungeons are horribly designed, so getting lost is a guarantee without a walkthrough. Those are the 2 worst possible combinations in JRPGs, getting lost with a high encounter rate. Other Phantasy Star games from this era have similar problems, especially the first one with its first-person dungeons, but I don't know why I always felt the second game had the worst encounter rate, though I get the feeling that long-ass dungeons are to blame. Number 8, Revelations Persona. It's painful to see how the Persona series started with a half-assed gameplay and terrible navigation design. It's another dungeon crawler in first person where everything and everywhere looks the same, but that ain't the problem. Encounter rate is awful in these areas, but it can be tolerated to an extent. Moving around the town, yeah, this is the town, look at this! A PlayStation game and this is the overworld map, disgraceful. Well, check out the rate here, it's infuriating. The nerve Atlus had back then when their first Shin Megami Tensei games came out. I've heard some horror stories in the Japanese exclusives, but I barely touched them, thankfully I guess. The most annoying thing in this game is that battles take a while to load, interface is slow so choosing your actions takes some time, animations are also sluggish, so after only the first hour of the game it starts feeling boring. No, they did absolutely not fix this issue on the PSP port, though at least there the battles are slightly faster. Slightly. Number 7, the Seventh Saga. The Seventh Saga is one of the most insulting examples of bad encounter rates ever. You walk around in the overworld and you can clearly see these little dots moving around you. They said it was supposed to be easier for the player to avoid them, but they obviously lied to our sorry faces. It's nearly impossible to escape from any battle whatsoever, and these so-called dots move faster than your brain. You can't see the enemy anywhere on the map, so they're pretty much random encounters, like in any other game in this list. Fortunately, they load quicker than other RPGs of its time, the interface is so fast and responsive, so each battle, with luck, might not last 15 seconds, but you probably already know the North American version is brutally hard, so yeah, at least your grinding will be automatic in a sense, and it will consume less time. Number 6, Summon Night Swordcraft Story. It's hard to believe that a single Game Boy Advance game has all the previous games beaten. This is where the list starts getting truthfully ridiculous, by the way. Often every 2 goddamn steps you'll run into a battle. It's unbelievable how quick they can entrap you without any warning. It annoys you because late in the game it's kinda hard to solve some puzzles and find out where you're supposed to go. There isn't a lot of backtracking involved because there are a lot of teleporters, but reaching them can take a lot of time, especially because you get into battles so often. But what I love about this game is that despite having its encounter rate way higher than previous games, loading times are almost non-existent. Look how fast the battle starts, and when it ends, it's the same. Depending on how many monsters you fight, combat could be over in about 10 seconds or so. So at least it has an advantage over other RPGs, right? That's still no excuse to have the encounter rate so freaking high! Number 5. Dragon Warrior 2. This spot belongs to all 8-bit Dragon Quest games, but I decided to choose what I felt to be the worst. It's nothing new to see the combat rates increasing whenever in JRPGs. Sometimes you'll play the games I've covered so far, and in some areas or dungeons, encounters will decrease for no reason, but they will also increase also for no reason. Every 2 steps, there shall be a battle for pixelated glory. On other occasions, every 10 steps, maybe more if you're lucky. It's an NES RPG, so it probably has the excuse to have its encounter rate this dramatic, but it's also one of those where exploring is a pain in your quarantine butt because you get lost. The last straw in RPGs like this is their cryptic nature, the where the hell do I go troll pissing all over your patience. For crying out loud, no wonder most people hate this second entry in the series. Number 4. Black Sigil, Blade of the Exiled. So Black Sigil is a Canadian RPG, so it shouldn't be here, but I just had to include it. It's one of those games with great ideas but ruined potential. Ruined, of course, by its majestic encounter rate. Beautiful. It had great graphics, music, interface, controls, story, 16-bit looking style. Everything, man, everything to be a great hidden gem. But this killed every single chance it had. As you can see, loading time isn't a big deal. The combat itself, however, is a slow burn. One of those with attack waiting bars for every character and enemy. Slow animations too. Just imagine hours playing this failure of a game through insane amounts of encounters with battles as sedated as this. They happen way too often in the overworld, but unfortunately, during the dungeons as well. No matter where you go, the encounter rate awaits you relentlessly, and slowly, and painfully. Number 3. Dragon Quest VI, Realms of Revelation. Thank you, Square Enix, for allowing this remake to reach our lands. Fuck you for not fixing the encounter rate. How dare you? It's a Nintendo DS game. By this generation, most RPG developers had already learned from their mistakes. But you allowing Arte Piazza to mess it up is inexcusable. As most RPGs in this list, battles will occur often during dungeons, but they're more frequent in the overworld. I'm grateful to say that, just like Summon Night, the interface is really fast, loading times are barely there, and you can be done with every fight in a matter of seconds. Because another advantage is that the game's balanced, kinda easy for the most part, until you reach a certain point, but that's every Dragon Quest for ya. I just find it disappointing that it's a remake, barely 10 years old, and they didn't fix this issue. It's honestly unacceptable. Number 2. Breath of Fire 2. I hate that cover! There are a lot of NES or SNES RPGs with horrible encounter rate, like this piece of nothing, however, beats the King Breath of Fire 2. In fact, I could very well add the first one too, and even the third game on the PS1, that's right, but I felt the second one is by far the most unnerving of them all. Perhaps it's because the game's harder than the majority of them, loading times are okay, nowhere near as slow as others, the animations are cool but kinda slow, adding more time to every battle. Sometimes it's hard to take the enemies down when you're under-leveled. And do you know how often you'll be under-leveled in this game? All the time, damn it! You can't run in this game, so it's walking all the way back and forth. Yeah, back and forth, cause it'll be a lot of freaking backtracking. Number 1. Miracle Warriors, Seal of the Dark Lord. You thought Breath of Fire 2 will be the first Blaze? I don't blame you. You've probably never heard of this retarded piece of history for good reasons. Or maybe you did because fate didn't smile upon you when you were younger. Or maybe because I've covered it a few times in this channel. Or maybe because my buddy Sultan praised it on my second channel, but at least he admitted it's a massive grind fest. Sure, whatever, because the game will grind for you. That's right, you get an encounter every 2 goddamn seconds here. Not 3, not 4, no, 2! Jesus, I know it's retro, very old, an 80s bastard that got lost through the ages, thank goodness for that looks like a computer western RPG more than anything. It's a Japanese RPG, fuck it all the way to Satan's burning ass. Fuck its dysfunctional interface, fuck its doodle-looking, cocksucking, pitiful map design, and fuck its poor, lamentable existence. And its encounter rate too. This fucker is my honorable mention. This fucker, this goddamn son of a bitch! A lot of games could have easily made it to this list as well. Like I mentioned at the beginning, I could have easily done a top 50. There are a lot of JRPGs with truly high encounter rate, but if they weren't on this list, it's because I did consider them. I just didn't think the encounter rate was as bad as the ones I showed in today's video, or I barely play those RPGs, or I never even played them. I've heard some horror stories on some Pokemon games. I heard a lot of horror stories about the first Earthbound Mother 1 on the NES or Tales of Fantasia on the Super Nintendo. I played the PlayStation version and I remember the encounter rate was high, but not that high. But anyway, I'm pretty sure you guys are gonna fill the comment section with a lot of JRPGs, so you go ahead and do that. Thanks for watching, don't forget to subscribe and share this video with your friends. See you next time!